Hey everyone, so I've been pretty quiet for the last couple of months on a lot of my socials, professionally speaking, and that's because I've been working on something quite exciting that I'm finally able to show you a preview of. So I was busy thinking, okay, what is the next step for Diatech Studio? What is the key technological innovation that moves the industry forward? What is the capability that, if unlocked, would create a lot of value with a lot of the jewelry manufacturers that we work with? So I think we finally have an answer, and we made some phenomenal progress on creating the next big thing that is coming to Diatech Studio soon, and we're rolling it out to some of our current users as soon as next week. So for some context, around 6 to 8 months ago, we launched 3D model generation inside Diatech Studio for the first time. And this was an amazing capability that created, highly precise meshes, and it was especially useful for creating organic geometry. Motifs that would typically take weeks to create, we could now create within 5 minutes with a lot of fidelity. The feedback we got after the launch was, okay, this is useful, but it's harder to edit this within Rhino or any other software. So how do we make this mesh cleaner? So a couple of months after that, we launched the Clean CAD utility, which created really smooth surfaces, cleaner triangles. The meshes were much easier to work with, much easier to edit, and they were just generally improving the quality of life for actually making the design useful. The challenge was that even that was still a long way out from a model that we could actually send to production, specifically because of the diamond component. So an actual CAD model would require studying calibrated diamond sizes. So I would want to say, I want 0.5 mm diamonds or 2 mm diamonds or 5 mm diamonds. And so based on actual calibrated exact diamond sizes, we would want to implement that inside the 3D model. We would need a lot of symmetry. So we would need exactness in the radial symmetry or the axis symmetry. We needed a lot of the diamond settings, so for example the prongs or the bezels or the channels with exact cutters so that the metal could have the diamond spaces and seats properly drilled into it so that when produced we could actually stud diamonds on it easily. So these were all really complex problems, which meant that even after generating the 3D model from Studio, people typically had to still import it into their favorite 3D modeling software, Rhino, Matrix, whatever, and actually close the loop. Now, these softwares are great, but they've not really kept up to that great of an extent with a lot of the AI innovation that's happening. These formats are very proprietary, so it's hard for AI models to directly create 3D models that are compatible with Rhino's intrinsic format, and maybe they'll eventually create something that actually meshes the AI features directly into the products, but it's not going to be something that is easier to build on, and that's not something that's extendable, which limits the value that you can extract out of it. So to solve all of these problems, I've been working on creating essentially my own mini CAD software, because the types of jewelry that we generate with the Studio 3D model generation are a very specific type of jewelry, and to close the loop we need something effective, something that someone could pick up really quickly, and so even with minimal CAD experience, you should be able to pick it up within a week, let's say, and actually do useful work through the power of AI. Second, we wanted it to be AI first, so we wanted the infrastructure to be such that we could keep adding more and more AI features and it would naturally improve your workflows. But it's not a requirement. You could still do things manually, because if you can't edit what you see, then it becomes harder to iterate. And so that's something that we wanted to solve. And third, we wanted to blend this with the 3D model generation specifically. So if you can generate a 3D model, then to bring it to production, all of the steps that you need to take, we specialize in doing that really easily. So essentially, there might still be 20% of special jewelry orders that would need the bigger CAD softwares with all of their libraries and whatnot. But for 80% of the standard CAD work, we want to say this will do better. So I want to show you a preview now of actual live demos of what this looks like, because it's quite exciting. And if you see if you can see the demo, you'll understand what I mean about it's significantly shrinking the timelines that we're looking at for standard jewelry work. And specifically cases where we would specialize is cases like hip hop jewelry, which have really organic geometry combined with actual studying of specifically calibrated diamonds. So this was kind of a long intro message, but I needed to give you all of the context before we could jump in. But now I want to show you what the tool actually looks like. Let's go. All right, so this is the CAD software. This is what the tool looks like. There's lots of features, and we'll go through all of them in subsequent videos. But in this one, I just want to show you a really quick preview of a sample flow of the real value add and where this gets super cool. So I'm going to load up a model of a Jesus face that we created using the 3D model generation utility within Diatech Studio. So I'm going to give it a 25mm width, lock the aspect ratio, rotate it 90 degrees so that it's snapped to my view properly. Okay, so this is what the face looks like. You can see it's a very standard shape. And the first thing I want to do is I want to make it symmetrical. Sometimes the 3D model generation makes the objects slightly asymmetrical. So our pipeline can automatically detect whether it's a mirror image or a radial symmetry, and it can automatically apply a symmetric fit so that both sides of the model look perfectly symmetrical. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the right side and I want to paint diamonds onto here. Okay, so I'm someone with zero CAD experience. Okay, I've never actually used a CAD software for jewelry design, no less, but I have simple tools like painting, where I can paint this region and fit a region to it. You can see it properly selected that region. Maybe I want to add the boundary, edit the boundary a little bit to drag some of these points just slightly inwards. All right, and done. Okay, so you can see this is the region where I want to add some diamonds onto it now. So I'm going to create the curve, and I'm going to click on stud curve. I'm going to give it an approximate number of 100 diamonds that I want to pack in this region. Okay, I want to actually make the diamonds a bit smaller, maybe 0.6 mm with a 0.112 mm of margin between them, and I'm going to hit submit. So now this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to pack this region that we've just painted with diamonds automatically and cut the right settings into the mesh so that they show up properly. I'm going to select shared prongs so that the prongs are shared between the diamonds. You can see it gave me a really nice clean lattice structure that sits properly on the mesh. Now placing each one of these diamonds manually would have taken forever, and this is exact sizes that we've picked. So this gives us a lot of fine grained control over the studying process. Now I can repeat the same for the rest of the mesh, maybe stud the other side of the beard, maybe the head. But this complex process was, it was five minutes of work, maybe even less in this video. And I could just do it with very minimal CAD experience, and I could actually make something that is one step closer to production. And I could just continue doing this all around wherever I want diamonds. I can even change the shape of the diamonds. I can make it cushions, emeralds. There's lots of settings, and you could do this live, and you could actually make a piece of jewelry within a few seconds. So this is the power of what we've been working on. If you've used the 3D model utility at all within Studio, this is going to supercharge your workflows and make you 10x more productive and actually close the loop so you could go end to end without using any other 3D software for these kinds of jewelry. You could also do, obviously, the more standard kinds of jewelry. So if you want like a standard solitaire ring, of course you could do it. And there's a lot of templates, and we're working on creating even more so that everything happens within this platform for the common CAD needs that you might have. The other cool thing is everything that you see gets converted into actual code. So AI is great at writing code, and we can generate code for the CAD model within the system, and you can save it essentially as a text file, and we can use all sorts of large language models to generate 3D designs quickly. Okay, so that's a very, very brief preview of what we've been working on. I think it's very exciting, and I can't wait for folks to try it out and give me your feedback. But I think this is going to move the industry forward in a meaningful way. I think this is actually making AI more first nature, and I don't know, I'm just super excited. So let me know what you think.